Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about Indiegogo email marketing tips. If you're going to be launching an Indiegogo campaign, some of these email marketing tips are going to help you get more people on your page. And we're also going to be talking about email in general. It's coming up right after this. So when I got started in the industry in 2012, I made the same mistake as everyone else, which is to think that social media is king, that social media is the main reason that all of these campaigns are getting funded, and that social media is the most important thing when it comes to marketing your brand, yourself, or your product. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's BS, okay? So I actually went through this in a recent class when it comes to my mastermind. I do these weekly, the workshops that I'm putting on live. Really exciting and a great opportunity for you to interact with me one-on-one, ask questions, all that kind of stuff, right? So in my mastermind, I've been talking a little bit about this, but social media is incredible. It's a great distribution mechanism, right? But it's not the only thing that's out there. And more importantly, it's actually not one of the most highly converting sources when it comes to doing an e-commerce launch on Indiegogo. So email, if you're obviously watching this video, you probably know a little bit about that. Email is one of the most effective ways to drive a river of traffic at a certain instance or a certain point in time, okay? So you want to think about this, okay? If you're going to be trying to get a lot of people on a page, on your Indiegogo page, you could rely on social media. You're gonna be relying on algorithms, right? The fact that people are even gonna see your messages on social media, that they're gonna see it at the same time, that they're gonna be checking social media at the same time. It can be very difficult to get enough people on one page at that particular point in time. So there are many ways around that, creating expectations, to creating a launch date, to creating hype before you go live, which you talk about in the pre-launch. Got some great videos out there, and I also talk about that in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, but that goes beyond the scope of today's video. So getting back to the topic here, when it comes to it, email is one of the more effective ways to get a river of traffic onto your campaign page when it comes to Indiegogo. However, you still are in some ways competing against algorithms. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you go right now and you check your Gmail inbox, what do you see? Well, you see your primary tab, you see your social tab, and you see your promotions tab, right? You see different tabs in your Gmail inbox, and you also see spam, right? Where a lot of people end up in as well. As a marketer, it's not your job to just send out a communication or to send out an email. Even with my YouTube videos, right? Only a certain portion of my audience are even gonna see the YouTube videos that I put out. If you're fortunate enough, you consider yourself a lucky one, right? You're getting tons of great free education and free resources. But that's just how platforms work nowadays. It's not about the overall number of people that you have that are subscribed to an email list. It's not about the number of subscribers that you have. It's not about the number of followers you have. It's about engagement. It's about engagement, right? How many people are actually seeing the messages that you're putting out there? Because I will argue that, let's just say you have like 100,000 people on an email list, but only half of them are seeing your messages. You really only have half of the people's attention. You know, so like it might sound cool. You can be at a party and be like, yeah, man, I got like 100,000 emails, right? Or you can be on a coaching call and you'd be like, yeah, I got tons of emails. But in reality, how many people's attention do you really have? That's the main question. So when it comes to email marketing, the first thing that I talk about on my classes, in my masterclass, in my mastermind, is how do you improve attention? Because attention is the number one thing that people is gonna result in action. People, you must first have their attention before they buy something. You must have their attention before they back a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign. You must have someone's attention for them to even register what you're saying, right? If I'm starting to talk to someone, let's just say a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, right? I'm telling that kid, put this toy down. If I don't have his attention, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna hear me. Well, he heard me, but he didn't really hear me. You see where I'm going, right? The question is not how many people you have in the room. The question is how many people are hearing you? How many people are listening to you? How many people are reading the words that you're writing in email? and not just scanning it, or not just opening it and clicking away, or not even opening it to begin with, right? So the first tip that I have for you is to focus on the headline of the email. This is so crucial, so important. You might have heard this before. You might have been like me and been like, yeah, that's important to do. But when you actually audit yourself, when you audit your marketing strategy, and if you want to, I can do this for you, right? When you actually audit your marketing strategy, are you paying attention to the headline or not? And the way you'll know is if you consciously are thinking about the other person when you're writing the headline. So you should be thinking, you're looking at the headline, will someone want to open that? Will someone want to open that and read the message which is contained inside? And if the answer is no, they're probably not going to do it, right? It's really that simple when it comes to the headline. Pay attention to the headline, because the headline is the number one thing that's going to determine open rates, okay? It goes even just a step before that. So the headline is important. That's probably like the single most important thing that you can take away from this video. But the second is thinking about how they even got on that email list in the first place. So all the time, talking with students in the mastermind, talking with students that I've had previously, talking with people who email in, right? It's getting to be a lot. So now it's like a very large inflow for me. But I try to still, as I can, when I get a chance, look at all of the emails and the messages and that kind of stuff. But that being said, so like when you think about how the people even got onto your email list, do they even remember that? Do they remember what it is you're doing, what it is you're offering, who you are, what your company is? You have to make sure that the people who are getting into the email sequence, or the people who are opting in via email, or if you're using another list or some sort, that they know who you are, that they expect future communications from you, that they have a sense of what's the point of them? What's the point of this? Like, what's in it for me, right? If I'm like browsing through my email, I'm always asking like, what's in it for me? Why am I opening this? How is it relevant, right? Because we all have a limited amount of time. If I know this is a really freaking cool product that I'm excited about, and I want to buy this thing when it comes out, I'm going to be scanning for the emails, right? If I know a really well-known brand that I love supporting, or a product that I bought before, and they send me a communication, I'm going to open it because I'm like, oh, maybe there's a great deal, right? And I want to buy another one. We are always constantly filtering with our own mind relevancy when it comes to email. But also when it comes to the actual Gmail inbox, Gmail is doing the exact same thing. They're filtering the emails you send as a marketer, and they're putting them in the promotions tab, in the social tab, in the primary tab, in spam. And then the number one thing that holds you back as a marketer is not the importance of your communication. It's, are people even seeing it, right? So let's just say from the start of the process, you didn't do any kind of warming them up. You didn't do anything in the way of future expectation. You didn't do anything in the way of even having like them understand why it is that they're on your list to begin with, right? It's going to just start going into your promotions tab. Going to start going into their promotions tab. Going to start going into the promotions tab. They're never even going to see your communications, man. You worked so hard to get their email, and you haven't done any beginning groundwork, foundational work, so they're not even going to see your communications. You're going to keep going to the promotions tab, going to the promotions tab, and eventually they're going to check that tab, be overwhelmed with the huge list of other emails that they're getting from other marketers. They maybe see yours, and if they do, they're going to be like, wait, what was that company? What is this thing? Maybe they don't even open it. Maybe they do, and they're like, I totally forget what's happening here. I know I opted into something, right? Most people forget. Most people forget things that they opted into. So that kind of beginning part of the process is a really, I would say, like a holy grail stage where you can cement the foundation of a relationship and to create future expectation. And the more that you can do that early on with your Indiegogo email marketing, the more likely it is that when you actually do launch your Indiegogo campaign or your Kickstarter campaign, that they're gonna back it, that they're gonna go from just being interested to being a buyer. And that's really the name of the game, is how do you move people on this continuum? I talk about, I did a whole class last week on this funnel that you have to put people through and kind of broke it down step by step. So this is something that's really important. So the first one would be obviously the headline. Second would be going through and thinking about, are you setting the stage? Are you creating expectation? Are people actually going to be opening your future emails? Are your emails going into the right box, right, when it comes to the email inbox. The third is thinking a tiny bit about the formatting of your emails. And here's why. Let's just say that you were to get an email promotion from a company. How would that email promotion look? Well, you can answer that question yourself. Chances are that email promotion basically looks like a brochure, right? It literally looks like a brochure that's in an email with lots of different photos and lots of things trying to get your attention and almost this whole well-designed layout. And you did that because ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or one of these other providers said for you to do that, right? And it looks like they're trying to sell you something, you know? So you're not yet in the sales stage with your email campaign. You're creating expectation. You're creating a relationship. You're trying to get that person not just see you as a seller, but to see you as an inventor, to see you as a designer, to see you as a group of people that are trying to create something cool in the world, and for them to assess whether or not they want to be a part of it. And why is that? Like, why is that different? The reason is that they're not going to get the product in 24 hours. They're not going to get the product in 48 hours. They're not going to get the product in a week, right? If someone's backing your Indiegogo campaign, they got to at least wait for a 30-day time frame before that campaign's over. Then they got to wait longer for you to fulfill the product, right? So maybe that's, let's just say 3 months or 6 months or whatever, and then they finally get it. How do you get someone to wait for that long? It can't just be about the sale, because then you're going to be compared with Amazon. You're going to be compared with Shopify. You're going to be compared with all these other products that are out there. But if people realize on day one, oh, this isn't just a normal e-commerce buy, like it will be available, but not only are they buying it, they're supporting the creation of it and supporting the actual idea even existing, right? They're gonna see it a little bit differently. They're not gonna put you in the same box as other marketers. And as a marketer, you never want to come off as a marketer. Really successful marketers are not ones who seem like they're selling. Really great salespeople aren't people who seem like they're selling, because the moment you sense someone is trying to sell to you, like you go to a sales deal, a car dealer, right? Or you're walking down the street and there's a guy with a clipboard trying to sell you something, immediately you're turned off. Immediately it's a red flag. Immediately all of the warning bells and whistles in your mind, you're like, oh no, I'm about to be sold to, tune out, right? But when someone comes up to you and just starts asking a question or makes a remark, or you go into a sales dealer and they're not trying to sell you on anything and they're actually more interested in what you want, all of a sudden you start to warm up a tiny bit and you're like, maybe this person isn't gonna ram down my throat something that they wanna sell. Instead, they're more interested in what I want to buy, right? So if you can have that more, I would say informal, I would use the word organic, I would say storytelling. I would talk a little bit more, you can show product photos in the images, but a little bit more from the look how it's coming together standpoint. Look at this amazing product, and we're now just finished the prototyping. Look at the cool designs. This is where it started. Now it's coming together. It's gonna be available if you want you to buy it. Literally, if you pre-order this thing, if you back it on Indiegogo, it's gonna enable the creation of this. You're a part of a cool Insiders VIP club where you actually get to bring this product into the world alongside with us. And how cool is that, right? It's different than just saying, go here and buy this. We're coming out with this product then, right? People are gonna tune out from that kind of a message unless they can buy it immediately. And if they're gonna be buying immediately, they wanna know everything, right? They wanna know the specs, they wanna know the functionality, they wanna know when they're gonna get it. They should be expecting it in 2 days because you're asking for the sale, right? So you almost have that responsibility. When it comes to the content of the email, the more you can kind of make it seem more informal and more leading up to this launch and this process, and as you go then start to stoke those emotions, get people more excited and anticipating, you're gonna have a much better launch. The final thing I wanna say about Indiegogo email marketing, let's be honest, this could be a super long video where we just go through like an hour worth of this, but I want to be conscious of your time. So last thing I want to say is when it comes to email, we traditionally view it as a one-to-many communication mechanism, right? So you're sending out an email to an email list, let's just say of like 20,000 people, okay? We view that as a one-to-many experience where we're sending out an email, it's automated, 20,000 people are gonna get this email or this communication into their email inbox. Certain percentage are gonna open it, certain percentage are gonna read it, certain percentage are gonna click the links in it, right? And that's kind of how we think about about email marketing because that's how other people talk about it. I view it a little bit differently. I don't think it's a one-to-many communication tool. I think it's a one-to-many communication tool in a certain sense, but it's also a reply mechanism where you can get people to reply to you. You can have a one-to-many conversation, not just a one-to-many broadcast, a one-to-many conversational tool in the same way that I view my YouTube channel, in the same way that I view everything else, right? So it's really a conversation. And if you can get people to reply to your emails, not only is it good for you as a marketer who's going to be coming out with a new product and you're looking for people's feedback, you want to hear what they're excited about, you want to use this as a market researching and validation tool. Like, have you ever actually purchased market research and validation? It costs thousands and thousands of dollars to have someone do a market study for you. Like, what BS is that, right? You could actually just ask the real customers if they're excited. What are they excited about? What are they looking forward to? How are they planning to use the product? And you can get a river of replies coming at you telling you those exact things. It's crazy. Why would you pay, $10,000 or $5,000 for a marketing research study? It just boggles my mind. But that being said, that's a whole other scenario. When you're doing these communications, if you also get people to reply to you, number one, great data, great qualitative data that you're collecting. You could quantify it if you wanted to even. You could send them a survey, for example, with actual questions, create some really nice looking graphs. I do that for clients sometimes, right? We talk about that in the mastermind as well. You can do tons of cool stuff in that way, but also it has a hidden benefit. When you start getting people replying to your communications, it signals to Gmail or whatever software tool they're using, this is someone this person wants to communicate with. And your emails are more likely not to be put in spam. They're more likely not to be put just in promotions. They're more likely to be put into the primary tab, right? Because Gmail is just an AI bot. And it's just saying, does this person want to communicate with this individual or not? And if they sense that this individual, that they want to communicate with them, they're more likely going to help that individual see their messages because they'll be angry if they don't, right? It'll be a bad email experience. So by inviting replies, it accomplishes a lot of these things in general. And in addition, engagement is the number one metric in terms of whether or not people are going to take action. Interest, attention, engagement, right? There's a whole other funnel that goes even more beyond that when you go live in these things, which you can learn about on my videos, my Kickstarter Launch Formula book. You can learn about that in the masterclass, in the mastermind, tons of different places to go and learn about this. But I would say that the last takeaway when it comes to email is that people do read these. I know it's crazy. People actually read email. And the more that so you can get someone engaging with you, feeling emotions, getting excited, reading a story, seeing product photos, the more they're going to create an anticipation in their mind, and they're mentally going to be looking out for your future communications because they liked the previous ones. In the same way that if you're a great brand, you came out with a good product, someone purchased it, and then you're like, hey, we're going to be coming out with a new product soon, that person who purchased your other product is going to be tuning in to the messages about that new product because they had a good experience with the first one. The more people have a good experience with your emails, the more likely they are to open your future ones. Really that simple. So I hope you enjoyed today's YouTube video on Indiegogo email marketing. If you do have some questions, you can leave them in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. Would love to hear some of your thoughts. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I'll see you next time.